Let me send this out. Come on in, come on in. I hope that y'all are well. Happy Feminine Friday. Happy Feminine Friday. We're going to have a conversation today. A really good one, actually. Let me send this out. Because we're going to talk a bit. Let me make sure I sent this to. Hi. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Put a 1 in the comments if you can hear me clearly. Let me pull this thing towards me because this is not going to work. Awesome. And let me know where you're watching from. Let me know where you're watching from. For those who do not know who I am, my name is Elle Antoinette, and I am an energetics and identity mentor. And what I do specifically is I support my amazing clients who are powerful women. I mentor visionary women to dissolve invisible ceilings and embody emotional and energetic authority so that their leadership, their relationships, and their wealth really reflects their true design, which is their feminine design. Hi, North Carolina. Okay. So I've been able to work with amazing feminine leaders and founders and coaches, and helping them dissolve these ceilings, by restoring their nervous systems, clarifying their identity, as well as reclaiming their emotional and spiritual rhythm. Okay. So today I'm going to be talking specifically about how not all circles heal, and we're going to have a conversation about the truth about feminine spaces and false safety. And the reason why I'm having this conversation, hey, Lovey, thank you. The reason why I'm having this conversation and why it's so important, and make sure that this is positioned right. Sorry, y'all. The reason why this is so important and why I want to be talking about this today is because community, I've been telling y'all since the beginning of the year, is the word of the year. You really need to be building your community because a lot is happening, a lot is shifting. And this is not the time to have people on your team or people in your tribe that you cannot trust. This is not the time for you to be trauma bonding in spaces, just to feel some form of connection. Aligned spaces only. People should really, women specifically, should be seeking alignment. Anything outside of alignment is going to drain you. Anything outside of what's aligned for you is going to drain you. Okay? It's going to cause you problems. It's going to drain you. It's going to distract you. It is going to disrupt exactly where it is that you want to be and where you're trying to go. So it's going to be very, very, very important for you to make sure that you are on the aligned monetization path. Okay, you need to make sure that you're making money in a way that is aligned with you, where you do not have to exhaust yourself to oblivion. You have to make sure that the community that you are in, you are aligning yourself properly with the proper community, the proper people that can position you. Everything has to be in alignment if you want to receive what actually is yours, and so that you can actually sustain. Because, like I said, and you can click the link in my bio, or you can go to my most recent YouTube video where I'm talking about the age of air, and find out more information about how things are coming in open into the light and going to be exposed. So if you're not paying attention, you are definitely going to miss it. Okay, it's going to bypass you. Thank you, Lovey, for these gifts. Welcome. Put a 1 in the comments to let me know that you can hear me clearly, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Make sure you share this with another visionary woman. Okay, because the future belongs to observers, the creatives, and the innovators. And I keep explaining that to people. The World Economic Forum recently, or not recently, a couple of years ago, they talked about how human creativity is an irreplaceable asset. With everything that's going on with AI and everything, they're not going to be able to replace human creativity. The issue comes into play is that a lot of humans are not creating, at least creating from a space of alignment. Hey, Atlanta. And if you're not, creating from a space of alignment, eventually you're going to burn out. We're in the season now where you can't do this whole being fake or faking it till you make it, or living this whole lifestyle as if, you're doing one thing, but you're actually not doing that. It's not going to work. It's not going to work in this season. Thank you, Lovey. It's not going to work in this season at all. So This live is going to call forth the emotionally intelligent, the spiritually sensitive women who are literally tired of holding it all alone. The women who are disillusioned by performance or performative feminine spaces and are ready to step into sacred, structured recalibrations. A lot of women, I find, they're entering into spaces, looking for community and different things like that, and they're finding a bunch of mean girls. Or they're finding and going into spaces and realizing they have more trauma when they leave these communities and these experiences. And this is a problem. This happens when you are not in a space of alignment. So if you are the woman that I'm speaking of that's entered into spaces, I have a couple of things that we need to go over first and talk about, okay? Hi, Lovey. Thank you so much for these gifts. So first and foremost, if you're here and you are that type of woman, right? Here are two things that I specifically already know about you. You're emotionally aware, okay? And you're spiritually sensitive. And you're starting to feel like the grounded one in every room, okay? Being the grounded one in every room is becoming too heavy. That's not a coincidence. If you are used to being the smartest person in the room, the most emotionally intelligent person in the room, the most grounded person in the room, right about now, those people who normally have to always assume those roles, those women are tired. That is becoming extremely heavy to carry, always being the one with the answers. It's kind of like being the oldest sister and yearning for an older sister, if that makes any sense. Everyone comes to you and you yearn for somebody to be able to go to. It's the exact same thing. The role begins to get heavy. But today specifically is not about shade. There's no judgment. This is simply about truth. And the truth is not all healing circles or not all circles heal. Not all feminine circles heal. I don't care what they're trying to tell you and how they try to play it. Not all feminine circles are healing circles. And we're going to talk about that today, okay? Let's talk about why this matters right now. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, and welcome. You may not realize it now, but what a lot of women are calling burnout, disconnection, or overwhelm is literally a byproduct of being in misaligned spaces way too long. Way too long. I'm going to say it again. You may not realize it, but what you call burnout, disconnection, and overwhelm is literally often just a byproduct of you being in misaligned spaces for way too long. When you are in relationships that are detrimental to you, you eventually start becoming sick and you start experiencing health issues. When you are in a 9 to 5 that is not in alignment with what you're supposed to be doing, you eventually get sick and you eventually get tired. I remember when my last job, full-time job before going into entrepreneurship, I was working for the Department of Children's Services. I worked as a CPS worker where I dealt with like the worst of the worst of the worst cases. I have stories upon stories upon stories, right? But I remember when I first walked into that establishment and I remember the women in there saying things like this. I didn't have high blood pressure until I started working here. I didn't have diabetes until I started working here. I didn't have da 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 until I started working here. And I said right there in my mind that I was not going to, these are women who had been there for 8 years, past 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, and they were literally at this job that made them sick, and they were very aware that this job had made them sick. And I remember saying to myself, I'm giving this bad boy 5 years at max. I'm going to learn what I need to learn. I'm going to support who I need to support, but I'm going to give this 5 years max because I am not going to allow any type of scenario or experience to make me ill, because I just don't believe that that is in alignment for me. I don't believe that I was created to come to this earth to struggle so hard to the point of sickness just to be able to pay my bills. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense specifically for people who claim to be believers. It makes no sense at all. I want y'all to really grasp that and understand that. That makes absolutely no sense. And that's a trick. It's a program. The reason why it makes no sense is because it's not true. Not in the sense of not true that it's not happening, not true that it's not the pathway that you're aligned and supposed to take. Because the pathway that you are on is not going to disconnect you from your spiritual core, and it's not going to disconnect you from yourself. Period. I didn't come to this life to suffer. And one of my homegirls, who is also a coach, she always talks about how the Black community has a struggle kink. We have a very strong kink with struggle. You know, that marriage is going to be so hard. You know, you're going to go through all these things. You got to make sure and stick it out, and it's going to be struggles. Here's the thing. You need to understand that life comes with its certain amount of pain. Life comes with its certain amount of pivot. Life comes with all kinds of things. Life comes with its own struggles because you're playing the game of life, which is a long game of chess. But when you are struggling to interact with somebody else, when you are fighting for your relationship, you need to evaluate the relationship that you are in. Because a lot of you are fighting for relationships when you don't even fight for your own self. You don't advocate for yourself. You can't advocate for yourself and ask for more money, but you're fighting for your relationship. I need you to make it make sense. Very much so out of order for you. Not for anybody else, but for you. Because when you think like that and you operate like that, what you're stating is that all these other things are more important than me. Okay? Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and comments. And when you get in romantic relationship or you get in friendship, people show you how everything else is important, more important than you, because you lead by example. You think doing everything for everyone is going to give you magically, people are going to start doing amazing things for you. That's not the way it works. So, like I said again, your burnout, your disconnection from self, your overwhelm, all of those things are literally a byproduct of you being in misaligned spaces for way too long. Some of y'all in friendships way too long. Some of y'all in communities that you paid for way too long. You know you're supposed to have been out of that. Why are you still there? Why are you still there? Excuse me while I adjust my position and I sprained my ankle, y'all, so I got to keep it up. And sometimes I have a habit of just putting it down so I have to lift it up. Okay? And when I talk about being in misaligned spaces way too long, I'm saying spaces where you had to dim your discernment. And what I mean, spaces where you had to dim your discernment, this means that you were in a space to where you knew something was off and you knew possibly that you were correct about something, but you doubted yourself because you weren't necessarily the leader in that experience, or you weren't necessarily the teacher or the coach or whatever in that experience. So you went against yourself. You dimmed your own discernment. One thing that I can say about women that come to work with me, even in the Sacred Feminine League or in the Muse Activator, discernment, your own discernment is what's vital. Okay? Your discernment is very important to me. So what I do is I teach you how to discern properly. At any time, if you feel that something is off and the math ain't mathing, it's worth an investigation, even in spaces that claim to be feminine safe spaces, because most feminine spaces are not safe spaces. A lot of you are getting together and just celebrating trauma and bonding over that. In these spaces, this is where collapse is celebrated, where leadership isn't really leading. Okay? It's so important and so vital because you have been the one to always hold space for everyone else. But when you need holding, there is none. Yet you have friends. Yet you have all these people. But yet you have no one to hold you when you feel needed or when you feel like you need to be held. You've been in circles, okay, that call themselves safe, but your nervous system knew better. A lot of you are in friendships with people and community with people that you don't respect, you don't like, you don't share the same values with, but you do it for some underlying reason that you feel like you're going to get an outcome, your desired outcome. That's not the way it goes. You need to align yourself in spaces where you belong, because that is when doors open. That's when everything gets activated. Okay? A lot of women are staying silent, not because you're wrong, but because you didn't want to make it awkward by saying something. There was an experiment that was done, and I may be a little off with this one, but you're gonna get my drift. I may be a little off with it because the details are slightly blurry. But there was an experiment being done, and I want to say it was a CA experiment, and there were 27 people, right? And let's just say it was a ball there. And it was clear by looking at it, the ball is red. You have 26 people, the 27th person is watching the 26 people that go before them look at this red ball and say that this red ball is blue. Each one is saying, what's the color? Blue, blue, blue. And it's going down the line. Blue, 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 blue. And he's looking at this red ball while everyone is saying blue. And when it's his turn to say what color it is, you know what he says? Blue. He said blue. Why did he say blue? Because he didn't want to be the awkward one or the crazy one, even though he clearly could see that the ball was red. This is what a lot of women are doing. I've seen women listen to the GPS maps, guide them into the wrong direction when they feel, and then as soon as they realize, they're like, you know what? I thought that I needed to be going the other way. I felt like I should have been going to the other way. You have more faith in the GPS system that will lead you to a dirt road to you being unalive, because that thing is not always on point. You got more faith in that to where it's going to take you in the direction that you want to go than you have in yourself, than you have in your creator, and trusting in the direction that you need to be going in that is best for you. And that's crazy work. See, and this is how we end up in a state to where people are making ChatGTP their God or their therapist or this and or that, their person to be able to talk to, their bestie. This is what happens in those spaces because you're so disconnected from yourself and so disconnected from your core. Okay? So let's go ahead and name this. What is it? It's when you override your body's knowing, much like the young lady who ignored herself and listened to the map that brought her into the wrong direction. You silence your discernment for the sake of a group. That man knew that ball was red. Clearly could see that the ball was red. But because 26 other people in front of him said the ball was blue, he had to say, or he felt the pressure to say that the ball was blue. Because, and what did I tell y'all? I've been telling y'all this. If you don't know who you are and you don't know your identity, what you will do, you have to pick the way society is set up. And society is a part of the cosmos. Let me apologize for something too. The other day, I think I did a live and I was trying to break down the verse that said speaks about you should not be conformed to this world, but transformed by the daily renewing of your mind. And I said world, and I was talking about Kairos. I confused it with time. Let me correct that. The world, when it talks about in that verse, it's actually cosmos. That's what I meant to say. And the cosmos, by definition, okay, according to Strong's, means systems and people of this world that disconnect you from your spiritual core. Okay? Society has set up multi-systems to disconnect you from your spiritual core. They've done it medically, they've done it education-wise, they've done it in a way for you to, the corporate system is one of them. These systems disconnect you from your spiritual core, okay? Because they program you to believe whatever the agenda is for that specific system. When we look at things like the pipeline, the school pipeline from school to prison, that is very simple programming. You're being trained to change classes to answer to a bell. Okay? All of these things are very much so conditioning. And that's why by the third grade, if they've paid attention to the fact that your child cannot read, they already have a plan and they've already positioned that child to be in the pipeline towards prison. You need to understand that these systems, when you choose to not stand in the fullness of your identity, you are forced to choose an identity in order to assimilate in this society. If you want friends, if you want connections, if you want help, if you want people to just know you, you're going to have to step out into that realm. And if you don't fit into societal norms, then you're going to be outcasted. So if you don't know your identity and you're not rooted in your identity, then you're not okay. You're not okay with being disconnected from society. You're not okay with not playing the role for society. And what you have to understand is when you come into the root of your identity and who you are and your energetics, guess what? You stop performing because you already understand that you were never of this society. You're just here. See, when you understand you're not of this world, but you're in this world, and you know how to maneuver both because you understand that you are a spirit being having a human experience, that's where your power gets activated. And a lot of women are walking around here extremely powerless in communities that are draining them, that are not supporting them, all because they won't step and stand in the fullness of their identity. Well, they don't know their identity, which is why you get online looking for women to teach you how to be more feminine. I am feminine in nature. And I teach you how to come back into your feminine nature. And one of the first things that I will tell you when we're working together is that nobody can teach you how to be feminine. You are feminine by design. What I do is bring you home to yourself. And when you come back home, you remember how cozy it is. You remember how comfortable it is. You remember how peaceful it is. You remember how easy it is just to stand in the fullness of who you are. And you're not concerned about what someone else thinks about you standing in the fullness of who you are. You're not concerned about that. And you standing in the fullness of who you are is going to magnetize your community to you. See, a lot of you go out looking for people, looking for friends. I'm trying to make friends. I'm trying to do this. You need to stand in the fullness of your authority and yourself, and people will find you. I think the saying goes, men who chase cat are very dangerous. Because a man who is chasing what he is here to do, he gonna always find, women will always find him. He will always find himself surrounded. Women will always be magnetized by him. The same thing when it comes down to a woman. When a woman is operating in the fullness of her energy, she never has to worry about if someone is going to be attracted to her. She never has to be worried about whether or not somebody's going to meet her where she is. She's always going to be met because she always meets herself. Energetically, you always meet yourself. So if you are a confident woman, you're going to be met with people who want to boost up their confidence, and you're also going to be met with people who want to humble that confidence. You need to be able to recognize that. And it's the little things a lot of times that happens where a lot of women get their confidence wrecked by the people they have around them. There's no point in 2025 having frenemies. Get rid of those people out of your space. Stop being silent. Because when you override your body's knowing, when you know this is coming to an end, when you silence your discernment for the sake of a group, that's not maturity. You're not being a bigger person. You're lying. That's actually emotional survival. That's actually emotional survival. I'm not just talking about community. I'm talking about what happens when you spend years, and I do mean years, managing your own nervous system in rooms that were never designed to even hold you. I'm talking about being in relationships where you are walking around on eggshells because you don't really know what's going on. You were not created to be small and to be dim and to act dumb. That is not your reality. That's the reality that you can choose if you like, but that is not your reality. And I can tell you that it's costing you your voice because you're filtering instead of speaking. Okay? I can tell you that it's costing you your vision because you're drained, not led. I can tell you that it's costing you your spiritual sensitivity because you keep overriding what the Most High is trying to show you. You'll be making me so mad. Because you spend all this time crying and praying and asking the Most High to show you a sign. And when you get the sign, you don't want to do anything with it. Now you want to say you tripping. That ain't what the Most High said. And that's literally what was said. Hi, Lovey. A lot of you are extremely spiritually gifted, but low-key tired. This is the bad time for you to be low-key tired. See, let me tell you something. When you are tired and you exhausted and all of these things, that what that lets me know is that you don't prioritize yourself. And if I was a low-down, immoral person, if I was a person who sought out to be a predator, okay? And I saw that you did so much for everyone else and all you talked about was how exhausted you was and you wish somebody would help you and all those things. If I carried that spirit of low downness, I would use you too. because I don't think you understand what you're saying. When you open your mouth to people and speak about how much of a great person you are and how nobody supports you and shows up for you the way that you show up for other people, and you just keep doing it in the name of being a good friend, a good Christian, all these things, what you are saying to that individual is that use me up. I don't value myself, so use me up. I like to be used. That's what they hear. And then you want to turn around and say somebody used you. No, ma'am. Nobody can play you without your permission, your participation, or the fact that you simply were not paying attention. And most women don't pay attention to the things that they need to be paying attention to. And because of that, they give permission for them to get played. And then they participate. Okay? And experiences where they are played. Nobody can play you without your permission, participation, or the fact that you simply are not paying attention. Man, woman, boy, child. Okay? Nobody. Thank you, Lovey. Nobody at all. A lot of you are emotionally aware, but you're starting to resent always being the one who gets it. You're convinced, or you've convinced yourself, let's say that. You've convinced yourself that independence is actually strength, but deep down you're craving a space to land so bad. You're craving a space to land so bad. And I'll be honest, when I see women online right now currently talking about how they're decentering men, I automatically know they're still centering men. I automatically know that they are still centering men. Just because you're not dating, talking to a man, or giving him any energy does not mean that you have decentered men. Do you know when you have decentered a man? When you have completely centered yourself. That means that you don't center any man, woman, child, anyone above self. Because you are the woman that has to be fueled in order to fill these roles. Even if the role is wife, mother, friend, sister, daughter, companion, caregiver, whatever the role is. What women miss is that when you are claiming to decenter men, thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes. When you are claiming to decenter men, and that's your focus, to decenter men, do you realize that you've made men the sun in your universe? Do you know that's what that means? You know? If you don't know, now you know. When you are saying that you are decentering men, you are making them the sun. You are admitting to continuously making them the sun in your universe, even right now with you saying that you are decentering men. This is why you should not get caught up in trends. Haha. Because these trends are not transformational. They're not transformational. They're pimping you. They're pimping you based on your lack of knowledge, because you don't have to decenter men. To decenter men is to center them. You need to understand your universe. See, when you understand your universe, it's two things that women need to really grasp when it comes down to community and partnership and and I won't say romantic partners, but I'll just say, being in a relationship with men, whatever. Here's the thing, two things that you need to understand. Number one, you need to understand your universe. And when I say your universe, you need to understand who is the sun, okay? The moon, the stars, all of these things. You have to decide, what does this look like? Okay? When you realize that you are the sun, that means the sun has the biggest responsibility and the greatest light. Follow me now. Thank you, my love, for these follows, the likes, okay? I really appreciate them. You have to understand that the sun has a responsibility. And if you didn't know, I challenge you to read. Oh, I ain't got it close to me. Or do I? No, I don't. I challenge you to read the book of Jubilee in the Ethiopian Bible if you say that you are a believer. I specifically implore you to read chapter 1. Okay. And chapter 1 is going to make sense to you. It's going to put the things together in Jubilee chapter 1, the things that are happening in Genesis chapter 1. That's like a bridge. So if you ever had lacked understanding or didn't understand how the world was created and all these different things, read Genesis 1 and read Jubilee 1. Okay. So in the book of Jubilee, it talks about each day of creation and the different things that the Most High created on each day in a bit more specific manner or particular manner, okay? When we're talking about when the Most High created the sun and the moon, it created the sun and the moon, number one, to reveal that there are boundaries. There is a point of light, there is a point of darkness. This is why boundaries are in your DNA. Number one, boundaries are in your DNA. Your heart has boundaries around it. So even before there's a heart attack, do you understand how much has to get there before the heart defends itself? Because there's no such thing as a heart attack. The heart defends. Understand that. Why would the muscle that responds attack you? Your heart defends itself. There are boundaries around your heart. The sun is here to set a boundary between light and darkness. Okay? The sun also has a responsibility of, in connection to time, in connection to seasons, in connection to making sure that everything grows, because when the sun shines on the earth responds with growth. Okay? So I need you to understand that when you are decentering men, you are making them the sun. That means that your mood and your everything about you depends on whether or not that man shines in your life. Men shine in your life. You make them, you put them over your time, you put them over your energy, you put them over your seasons, which is why your emotions are like this, because you've made them the sun. You've made them the sun. But when you understand that you are the sun in your universe, you understand your light and you understand your responsibility as the sun. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to understand as a woman where we're talking about building community. So let's get into the second aspect of building community and what you need to really grasp and understand. Especially now, because of the way things are going, which I'm going to get into that in just a moment, okay? Just that everything you're saying is hitting exactly correctly for me. Well, all praises to the Most High. The second thing that you need to grasp, and you want to grasp and understand, and you want to do this before 2026, y'all. I'm telling you. I'm trying to tell you something without telling you something. The second thing that you want to do is that you want to realize that your life is a movie. Okay? And in your life movie, you're like a jack of all trades. Okay? You are the leading actress. You are the casting director. Okay? You are the creative director in your life film. I need you to understand your roles and responsibilities, and those roles and responsibilities are very different. Okay? So, she said, you're making recent downloads makes so much sense now. All praises to the Most High. So, the first thing that you need to understand as the main actress and the main character is it's all about you. It's all about you. Okay? That's not just a superficial thing. It is all about you, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and socially. It all is about you. It starts and ends with you. The movie is no good without the main character. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Do you see? Is the mathing? Okay? When you are the main character, the attention, the spotlight, everything starts and ends with you. That's your role as the main character. To understand that. To live, breathe, and eat that understanding. Okay? The second aspect of your life is a movie that you really need to understand. Period. The opening act, the headliner, and the after party. Good evening and good night. Thank you. I love that. That's it. So the second role that you have is the casting director. Guess what that means? Guess what that means? Thank you, my love, for these gifts. That means that you get to hire and fire everyone involved in your movie. Yeah. You. So not only does everything start and end with you, thank you, my love, Not only does everything start and end with you, not only are you the main character, but baby, guess what? You are the casting director. You hire and you fire. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. You hire and you fire. Your responsibility. Well, why if he don't like me like that, why he just don't leave me alone? Your responsibility. You are the casting director. You hire and you fire. I mean, but if you don't want to deal with me like that, you could just say that. You could just fire him though. You could just give him a pink slip. You don't have to wait on him to quit. Your position and your job as the casting director is to hire and fire. You understand what I'm saying? See, this takes the responsibility off other people from other people doing what you're supposed to be doing. Because we get it real confused. We think that other people are supposed to be the good people and the people in our lives who, state this and do this. No, 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 no. No, no, no. You're trying to outsource your power. Mm-mm. See, when you want somebody else to do something that you're supposed to be doing, you're trying to outsource your power for that person to do. And it don't work that way. Much like how a lot of women try to outsource love through men that they should be giving themselves primarily first. In order for you to receive love, you must be love. If you are not love to yourself, then you are in spiritual violation of the law that states you should love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you're in violation of that spiritual law, then mentally you have the idea in the programming that you are to put everyone else before you. And because you put everyone else before you, you always are heartbroken. Don't get mad at me. It's spiritual law. This is why I explain to women, if you want to thrive in this society, okay? If you want to thrive in this society, there are 3 key things that you're going to need. Number 1, you need to understand spiritual law. For me, that looks like scripture. Everything that I teach is rooted in scripture, backed up by science and backed up by psychology. This is not your mama's church. This ain't what it is. But I will teach you how to get in real relationship with the one that created you so that you can access the things about yourself that support you in creating a brand new reality, which brings me to my 3rd point of your movie. The creative director. Haha. We the main character. We are the casting director. And we are creative directors. Okay? You create the reality that you want. You create the reality that you desire and that you want. The reality starts in your mind. The reality of this world, Earth, starts in your mind. Okay? In order for you to create a reality from your mind that is going to give you the desires of your heart, that is going to put you in a position of fulfillment, the only way for you to be able to do that is to be rooted in spiritual truth and rooted in your identity spiritually. This means that you have accepted the fact that you are a spirit being having a human experience. And when you understand that you are a spirit being having a human experience, you check and make sure things are rooted and grounded in the spiritual realm so that you can manifest the reality that you want. And if you don't believe me, what about the prayer you've been praying all your life? Thy will be done as it is in heaven. Where did it say? On earth as it is in heaven. Do you know what that means? Do you know what you're asking? You didn't even know what you were asking as a child, did you? Because nobody told you. Nobody told you. You're asking for the portals of heaven to be open and for it to rain down on this earth. So the things that you are asking for come down to manifest here in this earth. And if you are operating according to the fruit of the Spirit, which there is no law, which means there is no violation, there's no way you can be in violation when you are living, walking, and breathing, walking around as the fruit of the Spirit. So the things that you ask for, when for heaven to come down on earth, it's going to be easier for you to manifest those things. Why? Because you already rooted in who you are spiritually. You understand how to create your own reality. And therefore, you're going to put it in your mind that this is what can be done. And belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. Because if you don't believe me, the last time that you thought you were pregnant when you was throwing up and you were doing all of that stuff, and then you went to the doctor, you took a test and found that you weren't pregnant, why do you think it was that you just stopped throwing up or you just stopped getting sleepy? It was because your brain realized and read that you're not pregnant. But you were saying that you were pregnant and you believed that you were pregnant. So you tricked the body, you tricked the brain into revealing what you know to be pregnancy symptoms. So your body started to mimic that. Belief impacts biology. Biology influences the way you behave. So just imagine, if you don't believe me, let's try this again in another film. Let's try this another way. Final Destination, the first Final Destination came out over 25 years ago. It may be at 30 years now. None of us have forgotten the scene with the logs on a truck. So much so that when we start driving and we get on the expressway and we see a truck with logs on it, oh, we don't have the faith that the Most High is going to make sure that everything stays up there and not falls back on our car. We're going to move out the way because what we see in our minds is that truck with the logs falling. That was an illusion. See, this is how you want to talk about magic? Let's talk about it. You want to talk about sorcery? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because what that was sorcery. What that was, the intention was to plant that illusion. Y'all ever seen that movie, The Craft? You ever seen that movie, The Craft, growing up? That movie specifically, I'm sorry, somebody's comment here and I can't get it out. In that movie specifically, one of the young ladies did illusion magic or glamour magic on a television screen to make the girl believe that her parents had been unalived in a car crash. And when she saw that, she immediately went into a panic mode, much like the panic mode you go in when you get behind the truck that had them logs. Now, you ain't never seen no log wreck before in real life. You ain't never experienced no log crash in no real life. But because you saw that movie, every time you get behind a truck that has logs, you're going to move out the way. Belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. That one scene created such a fear in you that you have carried it over for the last 25 years to the point to where you are literally prepping for something that has never even happened before. You are anxious about something that has never even came or manifested into reality. Belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. Now, just imagine if you took a belief that you could do anything and you really could nail something and you really could get this project done, or you really could lose this type of weight, or you really could make this type of money. What if you really cemented in that type of belief for 25 years? Because I promise you, that belief from 25 years ago in that movie has not helped anyone move forward. It's positioned people to be more afraid when they are driving, more skeptical about these things. And it ain't even real. That's the crazy part. None of it is even real. So just imagine all the other things and the fears that you've created about things that are not even real. Never even came to pass. Never even came to pass. But you believe in it. Thank you, Lovey. You believing it. Okay? So let's get back into it. I'm going to tell you why this is so urgent, what we're talking about today, okay? Understanding that not all circles heal, and the truth about feminine spaces and faux safety, okay? So let's get into it. We're heading toward what I like to call another global split. See, we had a split between women in 2024, and we're seeing the evidence of what that split looks like with women in 2025. And we have another large split that's happening on a global scale in 2026 that I think a lot of us are missing. Okay? We're heading toward a global spiritual split. This is not about church or new age. It's literally about discernment. Okay? By 2026, women will either be anchored in clarity, rhythm, and in spiritual stamina, or they're going to be overwhelmed by the noise because y'all, they finna turn it up. I can't say what I want to say on this app because I ain't finna get banned. But they finna turn it up. You thought you've been seeing something the last couple of years. People losing their jobs. Prices going up. 2026 gonna come and say, hold this real quick. Watch. And by 2027, you're gonna wonder what planet you're living on. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. So, two types of women. Women anchored in clarity and rhythm and spiritual stamina, or the women overwhelmed by noise, false safety, and performative leadership. Okay? This next season is going to require the following: nervous system strength. See, they've been talking to you a lot about, you need to, how your nervous system feels. How are you going to assess something when you don't know how your nervous system works? You don't even understand the dynamics of the systems. Which part of the nervous system are you talking about? Which part? See, these are the things that you need to understand. The next season is going to require spiritual wisdom, is going to require emotional maturity, and it's going to require spaces that reinforce truth, not trends. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's going to be a lot less truth and a lot more trends to keep you distracted. And if you lack discernment, you're going to fall for it. You're not going to know the difference. And that's going to be a problem. You cannot afford to be or to continue to be the most grounded person in every single room anymore. You need your own community, and I'm not even kidding around. You are not here just to heal other people. You're here to lead. And leaders need aligned coverings and aligned communities. And I'm just being for real. And let me say this with love. Let me say this with love. Every time that you shrink to stay safe, that's a spiritual violation. Every time you ignore your intuition because everything or everyone else seems fine, that's a violation. Because you might be the voice that changes lives. You might be the one that says, you know what, we might want to get out of here. Let's talk, since we're talking about Final Destination, I want you to think about it. There was always one person that says something is wrong. Anytime something major was about to happen on a bus, one time they was on a roller coaster, another time they was doing something else, a plane. It's always one person that says, hey, something ain't right, I'm finna get off here. And everybody look at them like they crazy. Everybody think they nuts. Till they get off the plane, get off the roller coaster, get out the car, get off the bus, and the bus blow up and all in the plane crash and all this, and everybody looking at you like, how you know? Did you do it? Now they want to ask you if you did it. Now they want to ask you if you were the one who conspired to this event happening. How did you know? But see, the spiritually attuned always know. The ones who have ears to hear are always going to do. The biggest thing that you need to be worried about right now is, can you hear? Can you hear in the communities that you are cashing in or paying into? Can you even hear? Are you growing, or is this just a trauma bonded community? Seriously, every single time you talk yourself out of leaving misaligned spaces because you don't want to seem dramatic, that's a violation. That's a violation. Some of you are entering into communities and coming out even worse. It's the concept of sometimes how you hear people, I wasn't a criminal before I went to prison. I've heard that a lot. I wasn't really a criminal until I went to prison, because then I really had to become. You understand what I'm saying? So every time you talk yourself out of, I'm going to be done with this and leave this space, and you know you talk yourself, I don't want to be dramatic, you are violating yourself. You are confused. In fact, you're not confused. You're actually pretty clear. You're tired of pretending not to be. The season that we've entered into and the age that we've entered into, and if you want to know more about the age we've entered into and you love to read, then click the link in the bio and subscribe to my Substack, because I'm doing a series right now on the age of air and how everything gets exposed in the air. Okay? You're not confused. You're very clear that you're tired of pretending to be. This season that we're entering into we've entered into, you have to be, because doing is not enough. And if you don't know that doing is not enough, let me give you a couple examples. The hardest working person at the job is not the highest paid. The one that does the least gets the most. The CEO at the top, who is doing the absolute least, is making the absolute most. What do you mean you are the hardest working in the building? Where has that gotten you? The woman that works the hardest for the man, paying his bills and taking care of him, cooking, cleaning, and absorbing his bodily fluids all the time in the name of love or in the name of I got you, is not the one that normally ends up becoming that man's wife. It's normally the one who ain't really doing all that. Is the one he end up chasing. You're not going to get a reward for all of this hard work and for doing for other people. We've entered into a season. It's not about what you do. It's about who you are, because character is the new currency. And I talked about this last night on my live. You can catch it on YouTube. Because bad character comes with a bill. And see, a lot of women have been moving in the form of bad character, not realizing that you have spiritual debt that has to be collected. And in the age of air, it's collection time. It's collection time. And it's not just for celebrities. I know you like to think that, Cat Williams said everything's going to be exposed. That means you too, baby. You too. All of us are on the chopping block. So if you are not who you say you are going to be revealed. You're going to be exposed. Everything is exposed in the air. Well, why is everything happening right now? Why didn't these things happen beforehand? Because we were in the age of water. Water is something that you can manipulate, you can form. Water is emotion. See, you all that time, all that programming playing on your emotions, making you fear mongers, making you having anxiety all the time around every single thing. All of those things was playing on your water, playing on your emotions. We are now, you can't seduce air. You can seduce water. You can play on emotions. You can't seduce air, baby. Because air exposes. It's either going to blow everything to where everything to the point to where everything is clearly seen, or it is going to lift you up. And sweetheart, it's one or the other. And like I said, I dive deep into this on my Substack called the Red Knowledge Tree, where I drop a lot of sacred feminine knowledge, and a lot of information that women don't know about. Because here's the thing that a lot of women struggle, and I'll say this: a lot of millennial women who are educated, and I'm a millennial woman that's educated, don't get it confused, but a lot of millennial women who are educated, they have to read until they get understanding in order for them to really get active. So if you need to read to understand the era that you're in, and how that fakeness is not going to work anymore, wearing a mask, people pleasing, code switching, performing for men, you're going to be exposed, because life is going to get so exhausting that if you are not spiritually rooted, you will not know how to emotionally regulate. So you can't even wear the mask no more. You can't even be fake no more, because it's going to get that hard. It's going to get that hard. But see, if you're already emotionally regulated, you understand that you're a spirit being having a human experience. You already know where your help is always coming from. And you also know that the Most High's people have never been forsaken, not even in a famine. Get into it. But see, if you're not in position to receive, then you're not going to receive. And a lot of women are not in position to receive, because in order for to be in position to receive means that you are in alignment. And a lot of you are not in alignment, and that misalignment is going to continue to cost you. Okay? So like I said, you're not confused. You're clear that you're tired of pretending not to be. And at the level of calling, confusion is too expensive. Confusion is too expensive for where we're going. They already playing on your top. They already playing with your mind. They're already doing all kind of illusionary tricks. We live in a world of illusions. And confusion is not a spirit of the Most High. So if you find yourself in a state of confusion, you know that the Most High is not in that. You know that God is not in that. And why would you want to be a part of something? I'm going to say this and I'm going to say this. You claim that you don't want to go to hell because you don't want to be separated from God, but then you think you're going to live your whole life in this world being separated from God by separating yourself? Do you understand, to deny and to go against yourself is to separate yourself from the Creator? The reality is, see, what people don't understand about sin, which sin means to miss the mark. See, when you miss the mark on something that you know internally that you're supposed to be doing or not doing, you get the feelings of guilt. You get the feelings of failure. You get the feelings, and those things are blocks. And those blocks block your pathway and your relationship with the one that created you. Not because the one that created you got away from you, but it's the feeling of guilt, which is a block, an energetic ceiling, an invisible energetic ceiling. And now all of a sudden you feel like you can't even pray because that guilt block is blocking you. And this is what a lot of women really miss, and they don't really grasp and they don't really understand. So when I talk about how I support my clients in dissolving these invisible ceilings, these are the things that we're talking about. We're moving the things out of the way to clear your pathway. Because when you're asking for heaven, for the will of the Most High to be done, as it is on earth, as it is in heaven, you're asking for this. You're asking for the portal of heaven to come down on earth. When you are asking for something like that, you have to understand the responsibility that comes with that. You have to understand the clarity that you have to have in your mind for that. Because a lot of us don't really realize what it is that we're really asking for. So again, this season that we've entered into, it's not about doing, it's about who you are. Your character going to be your currency. I'm trying to tell you something. See, your authenticity will get you in the door, but your character is what keeps you in the door. And pressure builds or reveals character. And let me tell you something. Pressure is coming. See, you feel lightweight right now. But massive pressure is coming. And anytime you squeeze fruit, whatever juice is on the inside is going to come out. Point blank, period. So a lot of these spaces that women are aligning themselves with, if you are the one who is always the smartest person in the room, the most grounded person in the room, you need to find another room. And you need to find another room ASAP. Your room is no longer the room where everyone reaches out to you and everyone seeks you and everyone is looking for an answer from you. It is time for you to go and be with your community. There is no more saving people. That's over with. We've entered into the age of air. All things are open. All things are exposed. You will not be able to hide. Get in the proper community that you need to be in instead of trying to save people who still talking about what they're going to do. We are in the season of you will know them by their fruit. That's it. If you ain't checking for people's fruit, you in trouble. If you still listening to the words of people, you in trouble. We live in a world of illusions. It's over. Stop trying to save them. They are unsavable. And I said what I said. They need to seek their own salvation. Everybody has to go to the Creator for themselves. And you need to understand that being a savior is not the same thing as being a support. To support someone means that there is already a foundation laid and you are adding to that. Do you understand? To save someone is to save them from their own destruction, their own demise. And who is out here doing that? Nobody. At least you shouldn't be. So you really should be evaluating your communities. Let me tell you what a aligned community looks like, since we talked about what these other communities are. Aligned communities, it feels like it's not about being seen. It's about being strengthened. It's about being held and not handled. Okay? Aligned community looks like women who don't need to shrink to connect. See, let me tell you something. I love meeting other powerful women. I love it. I'm not intimidated. I love meeting truly powerful women who embody the fullness of their feminine essence. I love to be around those type of women. I'm never intimidated. And the beautiful thing about being around those type of women is that there's never any competition because everyone understands that everyone has dominion in their own lane. Women by nature who have not risen above their core nature of being manipulators. The first thing that a woman will do when she meets another woman is size her up to see, am I more prettier than her? How can I have a leg up on her? Am I smarter than her? You start comparing and you start contrasting. Am I getting as much? Does she get more attention? See, women don't, nobody wants to keep it real about that, but women who don't rise above that, their core nature, which is to be a manipulator, that's what you do. So you come in with a mindset of competition. Even if you claim that's not who you are, subconsciously, your beliefs are that. And belief impacts biology, and biology influences the way you behave. That's why you got that girl in your circle that every time, you see her, she picks you apart. It'd be the smallest thing. It's the same thing when women get online and they say something to me, oh, fix your eyelash, or oh, do this, and oh, do that. You're trying to find something to pick me apart because you don't really, you want the message, you want the outcome of what I'm talking about and what I've been able to support my clients in achieving and what I've been able to achieve. Okay? But you want to try to pick, you're trying to find a way to pick apart, to try to show you ain't really that. These are the things that women will do when they have not risen above their core nature. And most women have not risen above their core nature. Seriously. Most women have not risen above their core nature. And because of that, if they don't shrink in the room with a powerful woman, they try to shrink the powerful woman by trying to pick her apart with something. Oh, she can't dress. Oh, she can't this. Oh, she this. I heard she used to do this. It's always something. It is always something. Okay? When someone says fix your eyelash, it's because it's distracting them. Exactly. And here's the thing. Why would my eyelash be a distraction to you? Why would my eyelash on my face, that's on my eye, if it's not a distraction to me, and I'm the carrier, you understand what I'm saying? Then why is it a factor to you? But what that lets me know about you, see, this is the thing that women don't understand. Y'all talk too much. Truthfully, you talk way too much. Talking about my eyelash lets me know. If it bothers you so much, thank you for letting me know that you are so insecure about the way that you look, that you pay attention to everything on yourself to make sure that nobody criticizes you. That nobody criticizes you. See, thank you for letting me know how insecure that you are about the way that you look. That my eyelash is a distraction to you. And that's the thing. That's what women don't realize. She said, nah, sis, it's a distraction. Just fix it. Fix it for who? Who are you? Who are you that I need to adjust myself? Never. It makes no sense. And these are the things that women really have to kind of pay attention to, because they'll come and they'll do that, right? They'll come into your spaces and try to do that. And that's the thing that people really have to pay attention to. When you run your mouth and you're picking apart someone else, right? That lets me know what you pick apart about yourself. You tell on yourself. I don't know why she got that on. Thank you for letting me know that you are so concerned about the way that you are dressed and you present in front of other people. It makes you very insecure. And if I was a very low down person, because I picked up on an insecurity and I see that you operate in that space, what I'm going to do is make you feel very uncomfortable. So when you come into my space, I'm going to stare at your forehead, because I already understand how completely insecure that you are. You've already let me know with your mouth. So while you were talking and I'm staring at your forehead, and this is not something that I would do, but this is something that example of what could be done. And you're talking, and all of a sudden I'm just looking at your forehead like this. And then I say, "Oh, I'm sorry. What did you say?" So now I'm playing psychological mind games to let you know that there is something on you that I don't see as right, as approval, or anything that I approve of. And because of that, that's going to make you feel insecure, because why? You just told me that you're insecure in that area by criticizing someone else. Women talk too much. You telling yourself, exactly. When you judge another, you're judging yourself, because you always meet yourself. You always meet yourself. Always. When you have a problem with something that somebody else is doing, you have to ask yourself, why does it bother you so much for them to be themselves? You know why it bothers you so much for them to be themselves? Because you're afraid to be you. Because if you really stepped into the fullness of who you are, you would be concerned about what other people would say about you. Always, always, always pay attention. People will tell on themselves. They tell on themselves all of the time. This is why you have to be very careful about the people that you have around you. Period. I don't care if they calling you sis. I don't care if they trying to say that you're a friend. You need to pay attention to the fruit. We are in the era of you will know them by their fruit. Okay? And you really need to start paying attention to whether or not the fruit around you is rotten or healthy. Because one bad apple does spoil the bunch. Y'all know it. Y'all look at the fruit. Look at the fruit and vegetables that y'all didn't let go bad in your refrigerator. It started with a bad grape, not a whole batch bad. It started with a bad cherry, not everything else molded. It started with a bad blueberry, a molded blueberry that you left in there. Swore you was gonna make something with it. You were gonna really eat it. Now it didn't ruin the whole batch. It only had it in there for 2 days. Okay? One bad piece of fruit literally will mess up everything. And this is what you need to pay attention to. Because like I said, we in a global split. We in a global split. The second thing, when it comes down to aligned communities, this is what it looks like. It looks like boundaries are welcomed, not punished. A person who doesn't respect your boundaries you have an issue for two reasons with that. Okay? The only time a person who doesn't respect your boundaries, or the only time a person gets mad at you about your boundaries, is because they can no longer get over on you, because now there is a limit. How dare you limit me? You let me get over all this time. You let me do this. You let me do that. You let me do this. You let me do that. Now you want to get a backbone? I'm offended. How dare you? That's literally how they coming. I would do it for you. That's how they coming. But see, here's the reality of that. If I value you, then I don't want you to run yourself into the ground. So it don't matter if you would do that for me. I'm not doing it anyway, because I wouldn't ask you to break your back for me. And see, these are the things. This is why these things are very, very vital and very important to pay attention to. When you enter into spaces and your boundaries are not welcome, they're punished, people get mad at you, you know you're doing this right. You know you're doing it right. Because boundaries expose who people really are. And most of the time, people who have issues with your boundaries are people who were getting over on you, and now they can't get over on you anymore, or people who lack boundaries themselves. They feel like they get used up, so why don't you let yourself get used up too? This is the mindset. But when you're in a aligned community and you say no to something, it's respected. It's respected. It's respected and it's protected. You know what I'm saying? Because what we understand about boundaries when you are in a aligned community is that your boundaries are here for a reason. You put your boundaries in place to protect you. You put boundaries in place to make sure that people don't run all over your energetic field. And people who understand and who are in alignment with you are going to respect your boundaries, are going to respect your timeline. And this goes for men and women. And I hear this, men who like you they don't rush you. Men who like you for real, they don't rush you. They don't rush you to bed. When they like you for real, they don't rush you, baby. I'm telling you what I know. When they like you for real, they don't rush you. They respect your timeline. They respect your boundaries. They respect your schedule. They respect all of that. A man who does not respect you tries to override your boundaries, tries to talk you down from your boundaries. All of these things. Even when it comes down to women, even when it comes down to parents. I believe in having boundaries with your parents. I don't believe in not having no boundaries. I think everybody should be able to get them boundaries. Point blank, period, the end. Thank you, my love, for these likes, these gifts, and these comments. But when you're in a aligned community, people respect your boundaries. Okay? If somebody says, you say, I don't want to talk about something, the person should not be saying, well, you should just get it out and talk about it instead of holding it all in. You should do what works for you, and I should do what works for me. How about that? If I don't want to discuss it or talk about it right now, then that's totally fine. It should be respected. The third thing that's very important when it comes down to aligned community and how you know you're in aligned community is your nervous system. Its nervous system safety is, it's not that it's loud, it's anchored. It's a feeling of safety. It's a welcoming of you coming home. It feels like home because home is safe. Home is secure. Okay? And when you come into communities, your nervous system is not like, it's settled, which is very, very important. Aligned community also looks like being in rhythm, reverence, and restoration. Okay? And honestly, this is what the feminine was made for. Not just sisterhood, but a sacred calibration. Do y'all understand? When you understand your feminine nature and you understand your feminine core, you understand that the feminine is the communal species. Men are not communal. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, and these comments. Men are not communal by nature. We are. So when women don't have community, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. What do you hear a lot when it comes down to mothers and different things? Lack of community, lack of support, lack of these things. We don't remember that there was a time in our lineage where the village was full of women and we were raising the babies together while the men took the boys and they went through rites of passages to become men, to protect the women who were rearing the children, who were in the village and doing the things that were necessary. Y'all are looking for men to do things that you are supposed to be doing for yourself, number one, and number two, the community that you're supposed to be building with other women. And because you lack that understanding, you want men to be women. You want men to operate like women. Emotionally, they don't. This is why the second thing, what I said the first go round, women, I say that women need three things to thrive on this earth. Number one, you need to understand spiritual law so that you know how to create the reality that you desire. For me, that looks like scripture. Number two, you need to understand the science of yourself, the science of your feminine design. When you understand the science of your feminine design, you will stop expecting men to be women, and you will literally be able to accept men as they are and choose based on what you value, how you want to interact and deal with them. You will stop blaming them and you will choose based on your values and your standards. It's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. When you understand the science of your feminine design, you understand automatically who you are, and you begin to understand the masculine design and the science of that. When you understand the science of the masculine design and you understand the science of the feminine design, when you come together, because these two energies are coming together, we can create something that actually matters. Energy and energy creating something that matters. So when we understand the science of the feminine, we understand the science of the masculine, then we are open to understanding the science and the development of children. And whether they be masculine, men, boys, or girls, we have the understanding. This is how we don't pass down generational trauma, generational drama, and generational foolishness to our children, because we understand the importance of design and development, which is something that we are lacking as women. Why? Because you have no village. You have no village. Why do you not have a village? Because you won't stand in the fullness of your authority and your energetic and being energetically aligned so that you magnetize your community and your people to you. Your people find you. See, when you show up in the fullness of yourself, you never have to worry about people looking. People find you. People find you. Period. I was having this conversation with a woman a while ago, and we were talking about women as they age, right? So I'm 41, right? And we were talking about women as they age and how, some people say, oh, well, women are gonna, they have to have somebody. They're gonna be alone. They're gonna be this. They're gonna be that. And I'm so concerned about being alone. I'm so worried about that. And she was like, are you worried about being alone? I said, no. She was like, you not? No. She said, well, why not? Because why not? You hear all these things. I say, because I'm not gonna be alone. I have planted so many seeds of value across this nation, globally, across the world. The Most High, there is always going to be someone standing in the gap for me. Do you understand? When you sow value, you reap value. Just because I sow value to you does not mean that the value is going to come back to me from you. It could be from somebody down the line 10 years from now because I dropped that seed. Let me tell you something. I'm always going to be surrounded. A woman like me is always going to be in high demand. Understand that. I don't care if I'm 80. Get into it. I don't care if I'm 80. It's always going to be it's always going to be that, because I understand who I am. I understand how I make an impression. I understand how I imprint on the minds of others. And most importantly, I understand how I create impact and change and transform lives. I'm never going to be by myself, baby. Who you talking to? Who you talking to? Wrong one. Wrong one. So no, I'm never worried about that. And if women really stepped into the fullness of themselves and that understanding, then you wouldn't worry about being alone either. And most important, and I just want to, I'm just going to put this out there too. No shade to them. I'm not shading men. I'm just being honest. Talk to the nurses who work in hospice. Talk to the doctors who work in hospice. Thank you, my love, for these gifts, these likes, these comments. Talk to the people who have to be with people before they leave this earth, and let them tell you the species or the gender that tends to be alone. Let them tell you. It's not us. We normally have family and children and, grandchildren and people who just love us and all these great things. And baby, I'm talking about we be going out, baby, about to take our last breath. Everybody in the family holding our hands. You understand? Whole family there. If it ain't the family you came from, it's the family you created because of how valuable you have been during this earth experience. So people are going to transcend and see you out. It ain't women. It ain't women. So that's the last thing you need to be worried about. I mean the last thing. That's why I say worry about the seeds that you drop. Worry about the value that you are providing and that you simply are. And if you don't lose sight of that, why would you alone? Yeah, okay. See, that's another spelling program to get you under. Men are afraid of being alone and being by themselves. That ain't really what we got going on. Y'all let them transfer that. Because see, and the only people who say that, to be honest with you, men will say that to you to transfer fear. Because you understand, fear can't be, they can't be destroyed. It can only be transferred. So they're going to transfer their fear of being alone and dying alone directly to you. And you're going to accept it as truth. You're going to eat that? You're going to eat crow? Hey, do what you want to do, baby. I'm trying to tell you, but do exactly what you want to do. Okay? Do exactly what you want to do. So let's go ahead and get straight into this last piece of this. You have two choices as a woman. Because this is where we at. You can keep performing power in misaligned spaces, being the smart one, the grounded one, the one that everybody comes to see, yada, 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 for the solutions and the problems, and you still out here looking, craving a big sister and craving a supporter, craving a soft place to land. You can keep healing alone. You can keep being the most regulated person in the room, but the most secretly burnt out person in the room, or you can recalibrate. You can build rhythm. You can strengthen your discernment. You can restore your voice. You can return to alignment. This isn't about hype. This isn't about hype. This isn't about hustle. This is about a holy readiness. When a woman steps into the fullness of who she is and who she was designed to be, it's a holy experience. Being in that woman's presence is just, it's so magical because she gives you something every single time. Her presence gives you a sense of calm, a sense of just, you can be you, to just be. Those type of women are truly safe spaces, but those women are safe spaces because they safeguard themselves. Hello. They're an exclusive experience. They understand that they are a first class experience, understanding that everyone cannot afford to ride first class. So everybody don't get a ticket. Okay? These are the things that we have to understand. Now, if you're wanting to recalibrate, I got a couple of options for you. If you're wanting community, I have the Muse Activator. It's an 8-week program. It's an 8-week spiritual recalibration for women who lead, discern, and hold more than most. We don't do chaos over there. We build rhythm, nervous system regulation, emotional authority, and spiritual clarity. So you know how to move. When women ask me, what's the most important thing I need to be doing right now? Make sure you can hear from your creator. Because if you can always hear from your creator, you always know how to move. Do you understand that Harriet Tubman used to have visions and she used to pass out? And during those visions, she used to find out where to go next. And everybody had to wait. See, now let's get into it. Everybody had to wait until she woke up. Didn't nobody know when she was going to be waking up. Did nobody know what was going to happen? Everybody had to sit and wait until she woke up with going in the next direction. She was literally a visionary. No cap. So when I say you need to be able to hear so you can move, that's what I'm talking about. You don't have time to be like, well, maybe I need to. The Most High is not giving you more than one warning, baby. Gonna tell you what to do and let you choose to do whatever it is you feel like you want to do. Okay? So the muse activated is for the woman who's done the work, but she's still tired. It's for the woman who leads but wants to be held. It's the woman who knows her voice but needs space to refine it and reignite it. And if that's where you are, click the link in the bio to find out more information about the Muse Activator. The Muse Activator is $2K. You can get it with Klarna, Affirm, and Afterpay. Currently, at this time, you can hold your spot for $500. If you want to hold your spot, then you have to DM me the word activator for me to send you the link to hold your spot. Okay? Don't DM me activator if you ain't ready to hold that spot, because I only have a few spots. Okay? I'm only doing 2 more cohorts before this year is out of the Muse Activator. So you better get in where you fit in, because things are shifting and things are changing. The second option that you have is the Sacred Feminine League. The Sacred Feminine League is a community of amazing women. I like to call it a center. It's a center of space for women who have lost this connection from their feminine core. And women who want to return to center come to the Sacred Feminine League. That's where they start. Most women start in the Feminine League and then they rise up to the Muse Activator. Okay? The Sacred Feminine League is for you if you're still healing from spiritual exhaustion in unsafe spaces, whether that's been home, communities, or whatever. The Sacred Feminine League is literally your restoration in that space. A slower, safer, no pressure return to rhythm and presence. Okay? No fixing, no performing, just breath, body, and quiet safety. In that community, we meet twice a month. In that community, you get 2 videos on top of that twice a month. In that community, you get access to me. We have our own Telegram group. I give out tips and a bunch of different things. We come into that community and we share our experiences of the things that we've experienced and how we're learning, how to strengthen our discernment and different things like that. Women in that community have come and have gotten cryptocurrency tips from me, things I will not say online. Because whether y'all realize or not, you need money. But in order for you to get the money, you need to know that you are the money. See, but when you return to the center, you begin to understand that, and you close up all the gaps and the leaks that's blocking you from getting to where you're trying to be. That's what happens when you come into the Sacred Feminine League. You come into the Muse Activated when you're ready to quantum jump. You're like, okay, I've done some things, but I need to take it up a notch. A lot of women that come into the Muse Activated, they've made 6 figures, they've done this, but they want to jump. They've made 100,000, they want to make 500,000 now. That's a different kind of quantum jump you have to do. And we are in the age of air. I'm gonna say that again. Click the link in the bio to read my Substack on the age of air, so you can get understanding. This is a new era, and in order to quantum jump, you're going to have to be ready. And I break that down in the paid version of my letters on Substack. Okay? So it's very important for you to understand that where you are aligning yourself in the communities that you are aligning yourself with, you need to make sure that they are taking you and supporting you in getting to your next level. Relationships are supposed to make you better. Community is supposed to make you better. Connections are supposed to make you better. A lot of you are in attachments, which is why you are drained. Because you are attached to ideas. You are attached to programs. You are attached to things and illusions that are not even real. And coming out of that is going to clear you to get in position to get the things that you need to get. Okay? If you are in a space where you're like, you know what? I have community, or I'm in a space to where I don't have community, but I really need to clean some things up within myself so I can attract my community, then get the magnetic wealth blueprint. Somebody sent me a message at like 3 a.m. this morning, was like, I got the magnetic wealth blueprint on my YouTube channel, and I saw it when I woke up, and I saw that they ended up getting it. The magnetic wealth blueprint is going to help you remove your attachments in love. You got anxious attachment style, you ain't going to have it when you get done with that. And I'm telling you that because I used to be anxiously attached. When you realize that attachments are things that you're not supposed to have of this world because everything in this world has an expiration date, you begin to see the difference between connections and attachments, what's relational and what's forced. And a lot of you are forcing yourself to be in spaces that are misaligned with you based on your childhood training of your nervous system. You don't understand safety and calm and steady love. You understand instability up and down, which is why you chase him and you don't want him. He doing everything you want him to do. He'll do it in a hot second. He'll do it in a minute. But for some reason, you just don't want that. You want to chase this. See, this is your nervous system telling on you. This is the program telling on you. You're never bigger than the program. So if you never reprogram, you never come above any of the experiences that you have that are draining you, that are so-called toxic. You never come above that because you never reprogram. You never retrain. And in the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint, you get that training. You get rooted spiritually. You get deconstruct and refill your cup masterclass. You get wealth alchemy where you learn how to make money outside of the matrix. You get passively paid so you know how to make money that's in alignment with you. You get intelligence to income that teaches you about your powerhouse internally, about your gifts. According to Proverbs 8 and 12, that make room for you. Your gifts, your creative and witty inventions, according to Proverbs 8 and 12, that are in your very being, you get to act. That bundle teaches you how to activate that. That bundle teaches you how to dismiss and untangle these attachments, these demons that you've gotten yourself attached to. It teaches you how to be delivered from all of that. And once you deliver yourself from these spaces, then you become a magnet for wealth. You know what wealth is? Wealth is consisted of 5 pillars, not just money, baby. I know society told you that. They lied. Generational wealth consists of financial resources, time freedom, emotional fulfillment, healthy relationships, and growth and purpose. And the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint helps you build generational wealth. But generational wealth does what? Let's go back to the movie now. Let's go back to the movie. The main character. It starts and it ends with you. Everything starts and ends with you. So in the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint, if you're wanting to magnetize wealth your way, healthy relationships, time freedom, growth and purpose, financial resources, emotional fulfillment, the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint is going to support you in doing that. A lot of us think that we're building generational wealth when you ain't doing nothing but leaving an insurance policy for your baby that literally suffers from the spirit of of lack of self-worth. So even though you leave your baby that money, that baby is going to trick the money off to the nearest person that makes them feel like as if they were worthy. Because you thought your focus was supposed to be about building generational wealth in the area of finance, when in reality you were here to close the gap on the curse of low self-esteem. Don't minimize these things. See, you're thinking so big that you're missing the details. And the and the devil is in the details. It's in the fine print. The one you don't read. Much like the one you don't read when you get the updates on your phone that's letting you know that, hey, we're going to use your information to do XYZ. Much like the little things that you sign up for and you don't read the fine print when it comes down to the apps, and then all of a sudden when they're using your information, you're trying to figure out what happened and how when it was in the fine print. Always read the fine print. Just like you should always read your HR handbook. You never know when you're going to need it. So you got a decision to make. You got some choices. And the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint is $200. You can get a recliner, firm, and afterpay. And you get access to all of those courses that I was speaking about to be able to support you. But I'm going to say this, and I hope you remember this more than anything. But not all circles heal. Not all communities are safe. There are a lot of cults being built right now. Be very careful. Not all feminine power is rooted either. But you're being invited into something real in the Sacred Feminine League, in the Muse Activator, and even in the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint. And if your body knows that it's time, don't wait. You better move. Because you need to be able to hear. And this bundle, specifically, the Magnetic Wealth Blueprint, will support you if you are struggling to hear. Because you're not called here just to hear. You're called here to execute on what you hear. But you can't do it if you don't hear. Okay? What questions do you guys have for me? Drop those questions in the comments. I'm going to take a few of them. What else? Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click the link in the bio to subscribe. And then also subscribe to my Substack if you want to read more information on feminine power and how to protect your sacred currencies. As a woman, you have 5 sacred currencies at minimum. You have more currencies, but you have 5 sacred currencies. And society is determined to destroy your currencies, to use you up until those currencies are completely dried, okay? That is beauty currency, right? That is time currency, okay? That is energy currency, attention currency, and money currency. When you understand these sacred currencies and how all these sacred currencies start and end with you, you will know how to steward these things: your beauty, your time, your energy, your attention, and your money. And I guarantee you, you would live more of a fulfilled life. Okay? So you click the link in the bio to sign up for Substack. There's a paid version to my Substack where I tell you how to do certain things. There is a free version of my Substack where it tells you what is going on. So if you are a person who I'm like, oh, I don't necessarily need a course, but I'm better when it comes down to writing and implementing things, then become a paid member of my Substack. Becoming a paid member of my Substack is going to support you in aiding you in your transformation. Okay? Let's see. What was the book out of the Ethiopian Bible you suggested? I was driving? The Book of Jubilee. If you read the book of Jubilee, chapter 1, and read Genesis chapter 1, and you'll kind of see it'll close some gaps for you in some spaces. And then when you go into reading the book of Enoch, it'll really fill in some gaps for you. Okay? Thank you, Lovey. Thank you. I appreciate it. Any other questions? Make sure you click the link in the bio to get access to the Sacred Feminine League. Like I said, Sacred Feminine League is $197 a month. You can cancel at any time. Okay? No hostage holding, no contracts, none of that. You can come into the membership if you like for the rest of the year by simply paying $5.55. That'll cover you for the rest of the year. Like I said, that community is absolutely amazing, and those women I adore. I love the updates. I love the support. And I love all of it as well in the Muse Activator. Should I start with the Bible or the Ethiopian Bible? The Ethiopian Bible has everything in it, including what's in the King James. So me personally, I would do the Ethiopian, because that way you can cross-reference. I think a lot of people get confused. Like, there's one part of scripture where it talks about how the Most High made light, and then there's another part of the scripture that speaks about the sun and the moon. And so people will say, well, if it's saying that the sun and the moon, what other light is being discussed? Well, you need to read more, because you'll understand that sun and the moon are luminaries, right? And they're on positions, but there's also another light. Okay? Thank you. This is really good. Greatly appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you. All praise to the Most High. Hey, sis. Shalom. Any other questions? Any other questions before I get ready to let y'all go? Happy Feminine Friday. And on this Feminine Friday, I thought it was very important to discuss community, because, like I said, we are the communal species, and women are going to need community. 2 things you're going to need, baby. You're going to need money and community. I'm keep trying to tell y'all, and I'm supporting you in getting both of those. Because if not, don't come looking for me. I'll be gone. Gone with my community. Doesn't matter which Ethiopian Bible we get. Like, there's specific author you got it from. I want to say, did I put it in my TikTok shop? Let me see if it's close to me. Hold on. I think it might. Hold on. Yep. Hold on 1 second. I'll show you the one that I got. Whew. Okay. This is the one that I have. Okay? This is the one I got. And this is the one I love. That's just me. Okay? If you DM me, I can send you a link of where I got it from. Okay? So DM me a link. DM me and I'll send you a specific link to be able to get it. Okay? Any other questions? Any other questions? You're welcome. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions. So happy Feminine Friday, y'all. Hope that y'all have an amazing day. If you did not catch my live last night, go over there to YouTube to make sure you go catch it, because it talked about how the soul is sending out invoices. Bad character equals spiritual debt, and the bill always comes due. Okay? Character is the new currency. This is why you're seeing a lot of people get exposed, because the character ain't right. It ain't just going to be famous people that's getting exposed. Don't you find yourself on the exposure list. Okay? All right? All right, y'all. Y'all have an amazing, amazing weekend. Shalom to those. Shabbat shalom to those who are keeping Sabbath, like myself. Thank y'all so much for being here. Remember, self-care is a key fundamental of every single relationship, because you set the tone of how people treat you by the way you treat yourself. And you should treat yourself exceptionally well because you deserve it, right? But if you don't believe that you deserve it, then who am I to argue with your perception of self? But I would hope that you would elevate your beliefs, because belief impacts biology and biology influences the way you behave. And if you don't think that you don't believe that you are deserving, then the body comes into agreement with that, and the behavior shows how you are not worthy and deserving. Got it? All right. Click the link in the bio for any resources and everything. I understand y'all love my lives, and you can definitely use my lives to manifest things. But if you're seeking sustainability, being able to keep what you manifested, you're going to have to get behind the wall and work with me, because that's the only way you're going to be able to sustain, because then you have access to me. Okay? All right. And the women who have access to me are the ones who continue to ascend, baby. Ask my clients who went from 5 figures to 6 figures and 6 for multi-six. Ask my clients who have lost up to 80 pounds. My clients who are attracting better partners. My clients who are doing well. Okay? Because they are. The women who implement the work and who do this thing, their lives are transformed. They become better women. Therefore, they become better friends, better wives, better daughters, better mothers, better partners. Okay? Better CEOs. All right. Y'all have an amazing day. Peace out.